I first played Final Fantasy VII back in 2021, after the first part of the Remake trilogy was released and the second was well into development. I didn't love every single second of it. I think I was feeling a lot of friction with the gameplay of turn-based RPGs at the time, but I certainly recognized what made it so impactful to so many people. The graphics were charming, albeit dated. The characters were memorable, the story went plenty of places I didn't expect, and honest to God, I think the soundtrack was my favorite thing about it. One of the best scores to any game I've ever played. Now, 5 years later, I'm experiencing Final Fantasy VII Remake for the first time, and I have some thoughts. First of all, from an audio-visual standpoint, this game is phenomenal. Character models, environment designs, animations, visual effects, all of it is on point. The footage you're seeing is from my playthrough on Nintendo Switch 2, which surprisingly makes very few compromises, aside from being locked at 30 frames per second, I guess. Make no mistake, the game looks gorgeous, and that's a sentiment I can extend to the soundtrack as well. Nobuo Uematsu's original compositions are remade and fully orchestrated with so much care and attention, and the tracks new to this release are also really great. The visuals and music combine to make some incredibly exciting moments. Every single boss fight is a spectacle to behold, and each one even includes its own unique remix of the original Final Fantasy VII boss theme. In terms of overall presentation, I can't in good conscience give the game anything less than perfect marks across the board. Combat is also a ton of fun, mixing real-time and turn-based elements to make this feel like an evolution of the original game's battle system. Doing basic attacks fills up your ATB gauge, which allows you to slow down the flow of battle and issue commands for magic or special skills. Every party member has their own unique playstyle and skills in combat, and they're all fun to use. There is a bit of jank that's introduced when there are too many enemies on screen or when using magic in certain situations, but overall I really enjoy the game's combat. It's fast and engaging while still having room for thoughtful strategy. When we get to the game's story, though, I change my tune a little. Now, don't misunderstand, there's plenty that I feel Remake does right in terms of expanding upon the world and characters of Final Fantasy VII, especially the core playable cast. I just think the fact that the game is structured as the first part of a trilogy adds a lot of bloat to the narrative. You're taking this game that was originally 40 to 50 hours long and essentially tripling its runtime. This results in minor characters, namely Biggs, Wedge, and especially Jessie, getting a lot of focus, and I don't feel like any of them really have enough depth to carry these portions of the game. I feel the biggest misstep, though, was how they handled Sephiroth. In the original Final Fantasy VII, Sephiroth and his relationship to Cloud was something that was gradually introduced over time. He always had this sense of mystery and elusiveness to him, whereas here in Remake, he shows up within the first hour and reappears pretty often. This, in combination with the quote-unquote plot ghosts, as I like to call them, adds enough change that it's hard for me to fully endorse this as a faithful remake of the original story. Maybe they could have called it Final Fantasy VII Reimagined or something, but that probably wouldn't have sold as well. Overall, would I give FF7 Remake my recommendation? Yeah, for sure, but with the caveat that you should really play the original PS1 game first. It'll be far more impactful that way. I have no clue what it's like to experience a remake without the original context, so if anybody was in that situation, feel free to drop a comment and let us know how it was. Ultimately, I enjoyed my time with Final Fantasy VII Remake. While certainly not a replacement for the original, it's still a visually striking, sonically blissful, and fun-to-play action RPG, albeit with a story that can feel like it drags its feet. I've heard great things about the second part of the trilogy, FF7 Rebirth, and I'm pretty excited to dive in and see how this reimagined world is expanded beyond the Midgar city limits.